Welcome back to WHDT World News. We're talking with Dr. Dorsey about climate change. Now, Doctor, how do fuel subsidies affect the market for renewable energy?
Listen, in this country, we give not just millions, not just tens of millions, not just hundreds of millions. We give billions of dollars daily to old, dirty, nasty petroleum 20th century technology. We need to get that money out of that old, dirty 20th century technology, especially when oil companies are making windfall profits, making record-breaking profits. Some of the most profitable corporations on the planet, because of the subsidies, happen to be companies like ExxonMobil, like Chevron, in spite of the destruction that they wreak on the planet, and in spite of the climate change that they're driving on this planet, and in spite of the communities that they're wrecking and wreaking havoc on, like communities in the Bay Area of California, the Chevron Richmond refinery, that communities have been battling for decades. In spite of all that destruction, damage, and horror that they wreck, we, the U.S. government and U.S. citizens, plow subsidies into those companies while they make record profits. What we need to do is get those subsidies out of those companies that are making record profits and put those subsidies into clean, green technologies and energy generating systems like solar and wind of the 21st century. That's where we are now. That's where we have to go. And moving those subsidies away from the dirty 20th century oil polluting technologies into the 21st century technologies, that is going to be good for communities. That's going to be good for the planet. That's going to be good for the U.S. economy and the world economy. And it's something that we can do. We can step it down out of the dirty stuff of the 20th century. We can step it up into the 21st century green solar technologies. That's really what some folks call the power shift. We're shifting power, and we got to do it, and we can do it.
But I've seen the commercials, Michael. All those big oil companies, they're doing that right now. They're using that money to do exactly what you just said. I've seen the commercials on TV.
Well, you know, if you believe everything you see on TV, then I have to pray and hope for you. The fact is that a lot of these companies aren't doing what they tell you in commercials. They're not cleaning themselves up. They're not reducing their emissions. Now, truth be told, some of them are investing in solar technologies. There was a point in time when BP was one of the largest solar companies on the planet. That shifted because of economics, because of not moving forward on many, many issues. But the fact is that we need to stop subsidizing old, dirty, nasty 20th century technology that's based on oil, that's based on gas. We need to shift the subsidies away from those companies and drive the revolution that's already taking place. The revolutionary developments in battery power, in solar technology, in wind, they've been happening without considerable government involvement. Those technologies, those new clean and green energies could make record-leaping breakthroughs with even small investments, with even small subsidies. They've been doing it without it. So let's get out of that dirty stuff that's killing people, that's killing communities, that's killing the economy of the U.S. and the planet and driving global warming. Let's get out of that dirty stuff. Let's get into the green stuff. Let's help workers. Let's help communities. Let's help families. Let's help people in this country and abroad. And we can do it by moving subsidies.
Okay. Now, besides helping with all of that, what can we do on an individual level, you know, besides driving a Prius? What can an individual do to protect the planet from these environmental changes?
Well, I think first and foremost that the future of renewable energy, the future of really forward-looking, thinking climate actions and policies is not just modular, not just scalable, it's inspirational and it's aspirational. Individuals can do so much, and not only can they do much, they already are doing things. Individuals are keeping pressure on elected officials at the municipal level, at the state level, at the congressional level, and even in the White House. They're keeping the heat on these elected officials. They need to keep doing that. They're also having conversations at the municipal level and state level about getting support for clean and green energy producing activities in their regions and in their states and in their municipalities. People are doing this stuff. They need to keep doing it. We need to have a national conversation that's based in and wedded to science and great thinking. That's classically, I'll say it's American. And we can do that. We've done it in the past. We need to do it. The inspiration that we can take as individuals, as citizens, is akin to what we took and back, decades ago when we committed ourselves to going to the moon. That's the kind of inspiration that we need to take to rethinking and rebuilding a green, clean economy that's based on 21st century, not that old 20th century stuff, that's based on clean solar, wind technologies, that's also driving, avoiding catastrophic climate change. We can do it. We're doing it. People are doing it. We just need to step up and re-up those efforts.
You just mentioned solar technology. It's very popular. Americans are trying to reduce their carbon footprint by going solar. What is causing the recent drop in prices for this technology?
Well, many things are causing the drop in prices of solar. We've got increasing, growing uptake of solar in residential areas and municipalities and at scale. We've got new technological developments in terms of the ability of solar panels to really bring in energy. We've got changes in developments in battery and energy storage technology. We've got many technological improvements converging together, and those things converging together with relatively minuscule government investments. Those things are driving the drop in the price of solar. And we've also got some innovations in terms of financing. States like Connecticut are moving forward to create essentially green banks or solar banks where they do innovative financing to get solar installations at the residential and the commercial levels. So we've got a convergence of ideas, of technologies coming together, and all those things, American ingenuity coming together to keep the price of 21st century technologies not just dropping, but keep them low, keep them affordable for communities, for businesses, for families.
Excellent. Now, I see TV, I watch TV, and I see one side of the story. Am I only seeing one side? Is the media only giving one side of the story?
Absolutely not. I think when the media is having honest, serious conversations, not about, is climate change happening, but about how intense it will be, what are the economic implications. That's the real conversations that some in the media are having. That's the conversation that we need to have as Americans. The idea that this is sort of a not based on science, not happening, climate change is not happening, that's utter nonsense. We can and we are having in some places real serious conversations about how do we shift out of the old 20th century dirty technologies, how do we shift out of oil into green technologies. A lot of folks in the media, like yourselves here, are fostering serious conversations that more communities and individuals need to have and are having.
Now, the IPCC suggests that the United States needs a 36 to 49% reduction in emissions from the 2005 levels. Is that even realistic to achieve that goal?
It's not just realistic. It's actually relatively conservative. We arguably need to double that effort. In the U.S., we probably need to put ourselves on a pathway to completely get emissions to zero. That's really the trajectory that we need to have. That's the real conversation in the science. Most folks don't know that the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Kyoto Protocol, the big multilateral agreements, they say that if we do the reductions, we've got a 50% chance of avoiding catastrophic climate change. That's if we do the paltry reductions, the conservative reductions that the leading scientific agencies are proposing. So basically, if we do the conservative things, it's a coin toss if we avoid catastrophic events on the planet. So we've got to do more. We've got to be serious. And doing more is good for the economy, it's good for communities, it's good for families, it's good for not just this country, it's good for the planet. Why not have green, clean energy for people, for children? We need to do this, we can do it, it's a good thing to do, it saves everybody, it's great for everything and everybody. And we got to double up, triple up to get to zero emissions. That's really the horizon that we need to think about, because that has benefits multiple times over for the economy, for society.
Now, you mentioned zero. We got to get to zero emissions. When was the last time that the Earth was at 0% emissions? Has it ever been?
Well, with the industrial age, with the growth of the automobile, with the spread and growth of the population on the planet, with the tremendous amount of resources that we put into, that old, dirty fossil fuel technologies and energy generation, we haven't been at zero. But that is a reasonable target to go towards. That's a target that we can get with solar energy, with wind energy, with real renewables. And we don't need to actually even use nuclear power. We can get there. Great colleague, Arjun Makhijani, has got a great book, Carbon Free and Nuclear Free, that speaks to this pathway. The science is there, the ideas are there. People have made the case for this. They've done the numbers, they've done the arithmetic. We can do it, and we need to do it. And the results, the benefits, are amazing for the economy, not just in the U.S., but worldwide.
Okay, say I want to help, Michael. I want to get on board. Where can I go to find more information about helping?
You can probably go to your neighbor. You can certainly go to organizations like the Sierra Club. And not only can you go to the organizations, you can begin to, I think as an individual, as a citizen in this country, I think it's our obligation to step up and stand up, to do the things, the IPCC, you started this conversation talking about how the latest fifth assessment report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a few thousand pages. Why not have a community group with 4 or 5 people reading a few hundred pages? It's no longer than a Tom Clancy novel. Let's all read it as a group. Let's have conversations about it. This is something that we need to re-engage with. We need to have a new kind of citizenship orientation in this country that's about building the future, that's about protecting families, protecting children, growing this economy, growing in green, moving out of that dirty 20th century stuff, moving into the 21st century. Individuals can do this. We need to work together. We've been doing this together. Many folks are doing it. The Sierra Club, big groups, Friends of the Earth in the U.S., Natural Resources Defense Council, all these groups are working together. But I think communities are doing a lot of this stuff. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your friends, and get involved in this real conversation about a new kind of citizenship, a new kind of citizenry. We can do this. I think folks are doing it.
That was Dr. Michael Dorsey, the director of Dartmouth's Climate Justice Research Project. Stay tuned to WHDT World News. We still have the rest of today's headlines and a full report on the weather. We'll be right back.